Technology, Ogbomoso, to be delivered by members of the Governing Council, provosts of colleges, deans of faculties, the Dean of Student Affairs, and every other important personality. At this point, you will please join me in bringing to the podium the representative of the Registrar of this university, Barrister Adebayo, to come and invite the Vice Chancellor to read the citation of the lecturer and declare the lecture open.
It is with humble humility that I invite the Vice Chancellor to come and read the citation of the inaugural lecturer, Professor TOYIN EMMANUEL OLATUNJI, and declare the 78th inaugural lecture open. The Vice Chancellor, sir.
Citation of Professor TOYIN EMMANUEL OLATUNJI. Professor TOYIN EMMANUEL OLATUNJI was born over 60 years ago at Oke-Foko, Ibadan, in Ibadan, to late Eda Theophilus Folonso Olatunji and Prophetess Elizabeth Aduni Olatunji, originally from Ijebu Jesa in Osun State and Okuku Yeosa, Ibadan, Oyo State. He began his education at Abiola Jacobs Primary School, Ibadan, 1970 to 1975, and continued at Sakin Ada Primary School, Sokoto, 1975 to 1976. He proceeded to Sokoto Teachers College, Kantin Daji Road, for his secondary education between 1976 and 1981. He studied accounting at the University of Calabar, earning a Bachelor of Science degree in 1985. He later obtained an MBA Financial Management from Ladoke Akintola University of Technology, Ladoke, in 2003, and MSc in Accounting from the University of Ilorin in 2006, and a PhD in Accounting from Ladoke in 2014. Professor Olatunji began his professional accountancy career with Mr. Z.O. Ososanya and Co., Chartered Accountant in Ibadan and Kaduna as audit staff, 1986 to 1989. He subsequently served as accountant at Ansiatic International Limited in 1989 to 1990 and Empire Finance Limited from 1990 to 1991, both in Lagos, before joining Citizen International Bank in Lagos, later in Kano, from 1991 to 1993. His academic career commenced at Lagos State Polytechnic, Isolo, where he lectured part-time in 1990. In 1994, he joined the Federal Polytechnic Ede as lecturer 2 and rose to principal lecturer in the Department of Accountancy. While at Ede, he held several academic and administrative positions, including examination officer, class advisor, and head of department, and served as National Board of Technical Education accreditation teams between 2007 and 2009. Professor Olatunji joined Lautech in 2010 as lecturer 1 and progressed steadily to become professor of accounting, specializing in sustainability and environmental accounting. On October 1, 2020, he served as the pioneer acting head of Department of Accounting between 1919 and 2021 and contributed significantly to department and faculty administration. His roles included membership of the Post-Study Coordination Committee, chairmanship of the Post-Study Seminars Committee between 2017 and 2020, and membership of the Part-Time Post-Study Programs Committee between 1917 and 2018. Between 2017 and 2018. At the faculty level, he served as managing editor of the Interface Journal between 2017 and 2020, and as a member of both Linkage Committee between 2017 and 2020, and the Faculty Post-Study Committee between 2019 and 2020. At the university level, Professor Olatunji served on the Environmental Management Committee between 2017 and 2020, and IGR Monitoring Committee between 2019 and 2020, and the Entrepreneurship Development Board between 2022 and 2024. He also chaired the Entrepreneurship Development Curriculum Subcommittee, coordinated the marketing program, and served on the board of examiners at the Ladoke Open and Distance Learning Center. He is currently a member of Academic Lecture Committee. Professor Olatunji has served as external examiner at the postgraduate level for several universities, including Joseph Ayo Babalola University, Afe Babalola University, Ajayi Crowther University, Osun State University, Redeemer University, and Ekiti University. He has also contributed to the strengthening of accounting programs in a number of institutions, such as Redeemer's University, Adeleke University, Oduduwa University, Ekiti State University, and Olusegun Agagu University of Science and Technology. He has served over 300, he has supervised over 300 undergraduate students in Ladoke and numerous postgraduate students at the master and PhD levels, many of whom now occupy senior academic and professional positions. He is a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, ICAN. An examiner at the skill level of the institute and a member of Nigeria Institute of Management, Chartered, the International Society of Development and Sustainability, and the British Accounting and Finance Association, BAFA, and the Center for Social and Environmental Accounting Research, University of St. Andrews, Scotland. As a prolific scholar, Professor Olatunji has published over 60 academic papers in reputable journals and conference proceedings. He is widely recognized for his pioneering contribution to environmental and sustainability accountability and reporting in Nigeria. His research has attracted significant academic interest, influenced curriculum development across tertiary institutions, and increased awareness of sustainability issues among students and professionals. He has presented scholarly papers in Ghana, England, and Scotland. And serves as a reviewer and associate editor for respected international accounting journals. His advocacy has played a central role in the growing prominence of sustainability-related research among undergraduate and postgraduate students. Beyond academia, Professor Olatunji is an ordained pastor and the overseer Heaven-Born Church, Second Ede, Osun State. He is also actively involved in the activities of Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria in Osun State. He is married to Mrs. Ibijoke Jane Olatunji, a chief lecturer at the Oyo State College of Agriculture and Technology, Igbora. And they are blessed with wonderful children and grandchildren. On behalf of Vice Chancellor Professor Rasaki Olatunde Romkalilu, I'm honored to present to you an erudite scholar, administrator, researcher, and pioneer in the field of sustainability, accounting, as is delivered his inaugural lecture on behalf of the Faculty of Management Science. On behalf of the Vice Chancellor, Professor Rasaki Olatunde Romkalilu, I declare open 70th inaugural lecture. Thank you.
Other principal officers of the university, provosts of colleges, dean of faculty of management sciences, deans of faculties, postgraduate school, and student affairs, directors of units, heads of department of accounting, heads of other departments, professors and other members of Senate, members of academic, technical, and non-teaching staff, anointed ministers of God, friends of the university, distinguished invited guests, gentlemen of the press, greatest Ladokites, ladies and gentlemen. I'm deeply grateful to God for the countless wonders He has performed in my life, making today a reality. Truly, the faithfulness of God is immeasurable. And indeed, He raises the poor from the dust and lifts the needy from the ash heap to inherit a seat of honor. No one else could have worked such wonders in my life except the Almighty God. This 70th inaugural lecture series of our great university, which is prided for its being the best managed university in Nigeria, or owned by any state, and a leading light in academic excellence, is being delivered today on behalf of the Faculty of Management Sciences. And it's the 5th from the faculty. This lecture is being delivered as the first from the Department of Accounting. From its first professor of accounting and the pioneer head of Department of Accounting. And by divine order, the first son of both parents. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, permit me to describe my adventure into the field of study. My journey into environmental accounting began in 2002 at the University of Ilorin during my coursework for the Master of Science in Accounting. We were to submit topics for cost accounting seminar, and the coordinator looked at my topic and said, good, but you won't deliver this. I want you to work on environmental cost accounting and sustainable development.
I took the challenge and worked some nights on the internet, came out with a topic that was eventually approved, and the result was stunning and fulfilling. From that point, the rest is history. From that little push, I gained momentum and presented a subsequent seminar also in that field. Indeed, my dissertation was on environmental accounting and sustainable forest development in Osun State. In all the publications that followed, I always sought to find the appropriate metrics or develop suitable models for the determination of footprints to be accounted for. This quest came from a coinage I made in my earliest publications, that what we count is what we value, and what we value is what we treasure. While preparing for this inaugural lecture, I found it needful to return to that initial coinage, and therefore I evolved the topic cost, value, treasure, sustainability accounting model, congruity of environmental and social footprints, and strategic responses. I want to quickly remind us of the mandate given to man in Genesis 1:28, where God blessed them and said to them, be fruitful and increase in number, fill the earth and subdue or control or manage it. The Holy Bible NIV. This function is only achievable with good account of what the earth and what is in the earth and what can be consumed without jeopardizing the future of humanity. From this, it can be deduced that earth was made for humanity and trust and must be accounted for by the present to future generations. My doctoral thesis was focused on measuring the footprints of humanity on the forest endowment, using Osun State Forest Reserves as my case study. The ecological bleeding that was going on in the forest reserves was phenomenal, culminating in deforestation with attendant danger of desertification. It was obvious that the true cause of deforestation was not known. That was why it was not easy to operate sustainably. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, I recognize this epoch-making event of today is facilitated by my coming to Ladoke at the time I did, by a prompting of my mentor, Professor Jonathan Oyorinde Adewoye, who was then the head of the Department of Management Sciences, who encouraged me to come on board. I'm grateful to the former Vice Chancellor also, Professor B.B. Adeleke, whom God used to make it possible. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, let me start by providing a background to this lecture by clarifying a few concepts. Accounting is a science of determining the value of economic transactions through the systematic process of recording, analyzing, reporting these transactions in a manner that they can be used by shareholders, by stakeholders to make informed economic decisions. This is a more comprehensive look at accounting than the previous thinking that it's all about financial transactions. Accounting has several specializations, as we know, and these include financial accounting, minimum accounting, auditing, public sector accounting, forensic accounting, tax accounting, oil and gas accounting, national income accounting, and other special purpose accounting types. These conventional accounting themes have been found to be deficient in handling social and environmental concerns, which are the crux of sustainability. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, the term environmental accounting is often used to describe social and environmental concerns of accounting. Lately, this field has been expanded to include sustainability issues. It is an accounting framework that is contiguous to conventional accounting. It's not separate. It is a part of it, and it must be integrated into the accounting processes. Accordingly, you have environmental accounting in virtually every aspect of accounting types. The uniqueness of this area of accounting is in its focus towards determining what needs to be included in accounting results. Another account identifies, measures the impact of production activities on natural resources, geophysical environment, and society, and integrates them into product and service costing and pricing. Sustainable development considerations. In 1987, the World Congress on Environmental and Development defined sustainable development as that development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of the future generations to meet their own needs. One can safely deduce that sustainability is the act of humanity, for humanity, and by humanity. The sum total of policies, strategies, and actions taken by humanity is meant to prevent, remediate, and rejuvenate the earth. They are all acts of humanity. And these are done for the sake of continuous living on this earth. So the scope of sustainability accounting includes the accounting for natural resources and endowments, as well as management of wastes and pollutions. Accordingly, it covers forests, seas and oceans, minerals, earth surface, human resources, the atmosphere, including wind, filtered sun rays, and other gases. This field of study is also known as natural resource accounting. And an aspect of that is called non-renewable natural resource accounting, and the other part is renewable natural resource accounting. As you can see, some of the assets that we have in the earth today may not be able to be renewed at the same speed as is required for consumption. The aim of accounting is to report to stakeholders such a manner that the latter are able to make informed decisions with information provided. Thus, sustainability reporting is a vital part of this discourse. In the recent annual accountants conference, a facilitator was talking about sustainability, and he said, our problem is not how to report sustainability as accountants. Our problem is what to report. The CBT sustainability accounting model provides an answer to that question. And that model is detailed out, showing that the count means measurement, the value means monetization and appraisal, and treasure means conservation and stewardship, to give us sustainability outcome, which could be economic, environmental, social, and governance. The relationship of this model, functional logic. The CBT model operates on causal iterative relationships among its variables. In the function that puts sustainability as a function of CVT, where C stands for count, accurate measurement that enables valid valuation. V, proper valuation, creates motivation for conservation and rejuvenation. And T, stewardship actions to ensure sustainability outcomes. Thus, the equation can be rendered as shown. Empirical application of this could be through the use of content analysis, structural equation modeling, and multiple regression analysis. The count value is count what the through this triadic ability is profit, interest in perpetuity. Sustainability. That's all. No. Performances in order to build good corporate image, which leads to improved earnings. was governance. Markets to social and environmental sustainability issues was established in Olatunji and Fakirode, where the corporate environmental disclosure among Nigerian quoted companies was assessed. The findings showed that although disclosure was voluntary and at low level, the reports were in conformance with ISO 14031, showing that there is a hope in this country. Indeed, we went further to assess the practical application of the triple bottom line theory, and it was found that people are quite delighted to adopt this thinking, considering the effect on reducing the dangers of environmental abuses. Environmental accounting, as we see it, also covers accounting for wastes and for pollution. However, the attention of this researcher is on natural resource accounting. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, nature's endowments have been source of energy, raw materials for production, and ecosystem balance. These resources are either renewable or non-renewable. The non-renewable are so classified because under natural conditions they cannot be replaced fast enough to meet consumption, whereas renewable assets are identified, they are capable of regenerating themselves if they are sustainably managed. In September 2015, the General Assembly of the United Nations adopted the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. 17 Sustainable Development Goals were articulated aimed at achieving sustainable development for all. These goals are typified on the board. My passion was aroused to take on this aspect of environmental accounting, that was natural resource accounting, in 2002, when I found that most of the issues related to sustainability were resolvable if only households, industries, markets, public policymakers had an insight of what the bottom line truly is. What we count or measure is what we value. For derivation of profits or welfare achieved, and what we value is what we treasure. The Vice Chancellor, sir, permit me to quote from the Holy Bible. In John 15, verse 2, the Lord Jesus Christ gave an analogy. Thus, he cuts off every branch that bears no fruit, and every branch that bears fruit, he prunes, that it will bring much more fruit. This analogy typifies sustainability. It's talking about the pruning, which is silviculture in forestry. The case for sustainable forest management and accounting, I found that among other renewable natural resources, the forest provides answers to most issues that beleaguers the world today. As it stands, forestry meets SDG 1, 2, 3, 6, 11, 12, 13, and 15. This is nearly half of the SDGs, with marginal contributions to 5, 7, 10, and 14. My passion therefore arose for an in-depth study of forests to contribute to the conversation on advocacy for sustainability. Some time ago, in 2010, someone inquired why would an accountant be interested in going to forests. Today, you can have the answer. It's because the forest is the most sustainable resource that we have on Earth. The World Bank in 1992 described the forest as follows. Forests provide a wide range of social and ecological functions. They provide livelihoods and cultural integrity to forest dwellers and habitat for a wealth of plants and animals. Forests protect and enrich soils, provide natural regulation and hydrologic cycle, affect local and regional climates through evaporation, affect watershed flows of surface and groundwater, and help to stabilize the global climate by taking up carbon as a growth. Many forests have the largest spiritual significance for those who never visit them but still cherish the thought of their existence. Forest flora deals with the ecosystem service through plants, consisting trees, ferns, and wildflowers, and its fauna consists of animal life like mammals, birds, reptiles, and insects that inhabit the forest, all providing significant sustainability to humanity. Forest accounting deals with data on wood and non-wood resources, as well as other environmental services provided by forests. My initial interest was in determining what these environmental services were and what their impacts could be. In OLATUNJI 2012A, the main products, activities, and perceived impacts of forests were examined. In the first instance, timber stood prominent, followed by wildlife, which many game for bushmeat in our parlance here. Then wood fuel and barks and roots of medicinal plants, which we refer to as tewetegbu. Snails, mushroom picking, leaves used for packaging and dyes. Many other products were regarded as insignificant, but these were very important to life on Earth. Think about the earthworms, millipedes, and the rest of them, and their significance to agriculture. In the course of this study, it was discovered that Osun State had a robust framework for the management of revenue from forests. It has distribution of this into royalties, regeneration fee, and trust fund. And the idea is to promote intergenerational equity. This relationship that we have talked about earlier is depicted in the chart that follows. In OLATUNJI 2013B, the inventory of forest reserves holding and their profiles was examined. It was found that there were 11 legacy forests that was taken over from Oyo State when Osun was created. And out of these, a lot of things had happened at the time of the research. And some of them were de-reserved, some of them were already cut over, leaving us with just a fewer number of forests. And these were due mainly, beside public policy in the reservation, to excessive taking of wood. In OLATUNJI 2012B, it was analyzed in a 17-year record of tree felling and tree planting. And you can see the chart showing the continuous growth of tree felling while tree planting was declining. The environmental cost of deforestation becomes a matter of concern. And Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, deforestation is the removal of forest cover over a land mass. And this could be as a result of conversion of forest land to non-forest uses, like agriculture, mining, urban development, and maybe education. The consequences of deforestation are many. And on the positive side, it may lead to urbanization, increased food production, mining rights generating revenue from solid and non-solid minerals. These benefits should be subjected to assessments considering the seriousness of negative outcomes, such as desertification, desert encroachment, and loss of other environmental services of forests. And these are loss of indigenous trees, loss of carbon sequestration capacity of the forest, damage to undergrowth, immature or untended trees, loss of biodiversity, loss of watershed and resultant situation of lakes and rivers, as well as other pollutions, posing problems to aquatics and humans, loss of protective cover for vegetation and windbreaks, loss of wildlife and other non-timber forest products, loss of tourism income, erosion, leaching, and percolation of groundwater, emission of greenhouse gases. These are all the consequences of deforestation. Now, this, Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, I find it necessary to concentrate my attention on a few of these costs of deforestation. And I took on watershed services of the forest. And this we did together with Professor Olatunji 2013, in the course of which we evolved a framework for determining what is the cost of watershed. And it was presented in that chart. The trend of forested land in Osun State was considered to identify what is the impact of that on watershed services. As the forest was declining, I became interested in knowing what is the effect on the services of water to humanity within the watershed. And every other way to find out was difficult because water in Osun State was not navigable. And therefore, you can talk about water transport. Irrigation activities was also very little. So the only way we can talk about water is consumption of human and animals. And therefore, Water Corporation was contacted to see what is the production rate. And it was found that even there were declines in production, showing that the forest removal was having significant correlation to the decline in water productivity. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, another study relating to watershed was the one carried out on hydropower station at Niger Lake of Niger River, Jaba Lake of Niger River watershed around Jaba in both Kwara and Niger states. This took us to look at the facility as well as conversation with dwellers on the downstream. And it was found that although hydropower has almost neutral effect on the climate, it has other consequences on those dwelling in the downstream. There were a lot of agitations among those that were surveyed, and we had to use a tool, willingness to accept compensation, as well as willingness to pay, to determine what exactly would be the cost to dwellers of what was going on. The willingness to accept compensation and willingness to pay were depicted in the charts we have seen. The consequence of this is that the losses suffered as a result of the dam ran into several tens of billions annually, affecting agriculture, fisheries, and other living things around the place. Because even though there are flow mechanisms that were created by the company, they were not adequate to address the problems downstream. The next aspect is accounting for climate change, impact of forests. And this comes from the ability of forests to absorb carbon from the atmosphere. Since we know carbon and its other gases are responsible for climate change, as we have known, going on further. Therefore, the carbon sequestration ability of forests is determined by its canopy. That was done in table 4. It was showing the forest cover in hectares. 3 forest reserves covering 6,333 hectares were fully cut over. Each of the remaining reserves had lost at least 25% as at the time of that research. And that means that we have lost so much capacity to sequester carbon. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, sustainable forest management requires that the true value of loss and water services of forests is determined. And CACHOR 2025 provided some impressive numbers. 98% of the Earth's biomass is stored in the forest. Tropical forests in particular remove 0.5 gigatons of carbon globally every year. It was further established that plants generally take up about half of the annual carbon release. Plants do an incredible job of sucking out carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, converting it into a form that is hard to release back. The big problem is deforestation and forest damage, which removes a gigaton of capacity each and every year. Thus, it is not just planting more trees that will make up for deforestation, because it has been discovered that old growth hold more and actually assimilate more carbon than new growth. And of course, it has also been established that unmanaged forests of the same age perform better than forests that is having excessive human interferences. An example of that is our popular Iroko tree, which performs poorly in plantations, but excellently under natural conditions. It's important to conserve old growth forests, and this is a major reason why accounting tries to provide explanation for the implication of deforestation. The Vice Chancellor, sir, the very sector's response to climate change alarm was examined to know if there had been any mitigation or adaptation strategies evolved to tackle climate change threats. This was examined in OLATUNJI 2016, and findings show that there was inadequate understanding of climate implication of paperless office, recycling, energy conversion to reduce greenhouse gases, disclosure of environmental damage mitigation policies, and governance demands. The compliance, whenever it was undertaken, was only done to avoid sanctions. Today, a follow-up will definitely show us that information has improved, courtesy of environmental sustainability accounting. The Vice Chancellor, sir, the biodiversity impact of deforestation is also significant. We know biodiversity is useful for food production. In 2017, the effects of deforestation on biodiversity was depicted in a study carried out by OLATUNJI. OLATUNJI and NASA also looked at forest biodiversity loss and were able to arrive at a fact that an average $25 at 2017 per capita is lost in national state alone to deforestation as a result of the loss of biodiversity. This comes from poaching by hunters and by poor agricultural practices like bush burning and clear cutting of the floor and the shifting cultivation. In corporate environment, the ESG risk incidence of biodiversity impact was examined by REPRIX, and it showed that biodiversity affects animals and the entire ecosystem, leading to bottom line financial compliance or reputational impacts on implicated companies. What is the state of regulation and enforcement guidelines on standardization of sustainability reporting? And where is footprints featured here? Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, various standard setters and regulators have made pronouncements on how sustainability should be disclosed in the annual reports, or as an extra thereto. The foreign bodies have made significant contributions. The GRI, the National Organization for Standardization, ISO, National Financial Reporting Standards Board on Foundation, International Sustainability Standards Board, and Nigeria Stock Exchange, the Central Bank of Nigeria, the Corporate Affairs Commission, Nigeria Extractive Industries and Transparency, as well as the Nigerian Standards Board. The footprints or strategic response is now the issue to look at. Whereas there is this requirement that companies should produce sustainability report, most of them only report on their strategies and not on what they have cost. I want to move on faster to tell us the various contributions that I have made in the past few years. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, ladies and gentlemen, my contributions are not limited to research alone. I've made similar contributions in capacity building. I have taught I've taught thousands of students at undergraduate level and postgraduate levels. I've also gone ahead to produce a lot of postgraduate graduates. I have about 6 PhDs to my record, many of whom are senior academics in this university and in some others. And I have produced about 8 master's students at MEMTech, MSc, and MPhil levels. Many of them are now PhD holders. This is my humble contribution to teaching aspect of my duties. I've also been involved in researches and collaboration in Nigeria and internationally. I've also been examiner of postgraduate students in many universities as stated in the profile. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, outside this university, I have participated in many discussions and debates, locally and internationally, on the subject matter. In addition to this, by 2023, I midwifed the establishment of Environmental, Social, and Sustainability Accounting Research Group in Ladoke, with membership spread across many campuses. Professionally, as a chartered accountant, I am a fellow of the Institute, and I am an examiner of performance management at skills level professional examination. I'm also an actively involved member of Ogbomoso District Society of the Institute, a member of the National Society for Development and Sustainability, where we're focused on treating issues related to sustainability. Conclusion. Sustainable development goals are achievable with sustainability consciousness arising from sustainability reports. Voluntary disclosure does not imply personal reporting, and therefore companies should be made to report their own footprints, not just what they are planning to do to prevent. Climate risks are real and can be mitigated if appropriately measured and priced. Similarly, footprints need to be complemented. You need to complement strategic response to social developmental concerns. Recommendation. It goes to everyone to take responsibility for environmental and social responsibility. Individuals and homes must see sustainability as an urgent business that must be taken seriously. Communities should discourage indiscriminate taking of wood. They should also develop urban forests to take up carbon from the atmosphere. Farming communities should engage in crop rotation rather than shifting cultivation and bush burning. Encourage community dwellers to minimize the use of fossil fuel-driven automobiles and power source, even avoid it altogether. Discourage patronage of polluters, products, and shops and markets. For government, there should be a framework to guide for enforcement of environmental laws. National Environmental Standard Regulation should collaborate with Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria to enforce standards, acknowledgements. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, I want to begin my acknowledgement with the source of my being, the Almighty God. He has been the one who made me what I am, the sustainer of my life, my protector and my keeper. And when I look at my life and what he has done for me, I am inclined to sing. Síbẹ̀ Olúwa dára, bó ti wù kó rí o, ogun ayé ilé pọ̀. Síbẹ̀ Olúwa dára, síbẹ̀ Olúwa dára, bó ti wù kó rí o, ìdààmú ayé ilé pọ̀. Síbẹ̀ Olúwa dára. Meaning, the Lord is good, irrespective of what we go through. Life could be a stiff battle, yet the Lord is good. I appreciate the Vice Chancellor of this great university, Professor Razak Oram Kalilu, for approving this lecture. My gratitude goes to the management team of our great university for their assistance in facilitating this occasion. I'm also thankful to the immediate and past academic lecture committee who graciously recommended this lecture. Special thanks to Professors Akim, Oladiti, Joe, Amo, Adeola Ige, and others. I'm grateful to my early life contributors who, like prophets, spoke into my life. I want to thank God for my grandfather, who was Christine Babampalo, late Pa Taiwo Adewi, and his loving and caring wife, late Mama Taiwo Odola Ajile. These people always spoke of my greatness and the future they looked forward to meeting. Unfortunately, they left before I could even graduate. I'm grateful to my father, late Elder Theophilus OLATUNJI, Obaru Koshoro, Omoro Olagbo, Amolese Bi Alari, Omo Oluleo, Omaribi Don Obodide. Rest on in the bosom of the Lord. Your sacrifices and pain have paid off. I also recognize the contribution of my mother, Prophetess Elizabeth Aduni Sari Olatunji, the matriarch of the Folonso Olatunji dynasty. I cannot thank you enough for the way you raised me in the fear and mission of the Lord. Your care and sacrifices are both rewarded today. Thank you, Mama Riri. I fondly remember my early life teachers, so many of them. I cannot count them by now. My life is strewn with challenges, without a silver spoon. If I would tell a story, it's going to be quite a long time. However, Many people have contributed to my journey, and many of them, I cannot even read out their names now because of time. But the Vice Chancellor, sir, permit me to recognize the immense contribution of my spiritual fathers who continually encouraged me to be forthright and to stay in the service of God. My deepest regards go to Reverend Jagede and his family, and a number of others who are serving in the same capacity. I hinted earlier that I'm served by God through many human benefactors. I want to appreciate late engineer Isaiah Olojo, who took up my university education and sponsored me through with unusual humility and care. Rest on the bosom of the Lord till we meet again. His wife also had been very caring and supportive. May God continue to meet your needs in Jesus' name. I also want to remember Professor Jonathan Oyenide Adewoye for his roles in my journey. I recognize the value of the contributions of Dr. J.T. Adikolawale, who played a single role in bringing me into Federal Polytechnic. I fully remember late Dr. J.A. Adetosho, former head of accounting department in Jabu, and later Redeemers University, a man of God with selfless passion for welfare of other people. King Solomon once wrote that a friend loveth at all times, and a brother is born for adversity. That is how to describe the family of John Ade, Joseph Bamila, in the way they have shown me much care. May God bless you. I also want to remember the contributions of my sister from another family, late Mrs. Yewande Dairo Ni Lewis, for how much love and care she showed in my professional journey. My gratitude goes to a lot of people who have been helpful on my journey. I want to recognize members, my mentors, Professor Amos Akintola Owolabi, a strong Ogbomoso man who took me up during my ICANN training and saw that I continued with academic pursuit until I got to the PhD. I fully remember my supervisor, late Professor O. Omokpareola, who supervised my MSc dissertation and encouraged and commenced with my PhD supervision, but departed this world before I completed the work. Papa, rest on in the Lord. Your work speaks. I'm delighted to acknowledge my mentor and supervisor of my PhD thesis, Professor Moshood Larry Nassar, who was rector of the Polytechnic and later Vice Chancellor of this great university. You are highly appreciated for your unequal leadership and mentorship. God will reward you greatly. Sir, some men stand tall among equals, but are humble in their own eyes. That describes my mentor, Professor A.R. Onolakpo, my current HOD, who co-supervised me with Professor Nassar. May God reward your labor, sir. My heartfelt gratitude goes to Professor Olabo Adepopola of University of Ibadan, who, on the introduction of Professor Elu Alamu, the Dean of Renewable Natural Resources, on that strength, he took me up and guided my thesis and brought in 3 other professors to jury the work before I even presented my seminars. My appreciation goes to late Professor B.A. Oyelere, who also facilitated my relationship with Professor Alamu by making me to realize that this work is multidisciplinary and therefore I must stay close to him. I'm grateful to my present dean, Professor Remi Aworemi, popularly called Atu, for painstakingly looking through my thesis and brainstorming with me on various issues. Thanks for your generosity and discipline. I appreciate your contribution, the contribution of Professor Thompson Adeboyejo for his guidance too. Acknowledge the roles of my fathers in this academic world, Professor Oluokure too. Professor Olabode grieves me deeply because today he's not here. I look forward to the day that he will see me produce my papers. May the Lord be with him. Professor Taiwo Olufemi Ashaolu has been very supportive on my journey. Professor Eti Salami of OAU was introduced to me by Professor A.A. Owolabi, and he did an incredible job of showing me what ecology is. A lot of co-travelers are involved in this journey. I cannot forget the contributions of senior friends like Dikin Tato Zalao Shueton, former ICANN president, and his help in my professional journey. To my people in JA Club 82, I say thank you for being here. I also want to appreciate all my mentees. I can't list all of you now, but but I believe that you will recognize that I'm constrained with time. To my people in Bodewasimi community, I appreciate your being here. You will be celebrated also someday. I acknowledge the support of my professional colleagues in Ogbomoso and District Society, and for the input they have made in making today a reality. I appreciate the presence and involvement of Everyman Church, Shekona, and their presence in this place. The Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria also. Thank you for Ede Province. Thank you for being here. I also want to appreciate friends who have contributed to my journey so far. My colleagues at University of Ilorin, whom we graduated in masters together, and several others with whom we have run the PhD program together. My point I need to go to my in-laws, the people who graciously gave me a virtuous woman. And I want to appreciate all of them, from Baba Oyedele, to Mama Oyedele, to Alhaji Bashir Busari, to Mrs. Ibiemi Busari, and their children, Mrs. Sueba Atlawal, and late Mrs. Ajani, and a host of them, Mrs. Ronke Aziz, Dr. and Mrs. Adekunle Oyedele, Dr. and Mrs. Oyesomi, Alhaji and Mrs. Adepoju. These are great people who have been so wonderful and loving. I recognize the presence of my children and their spouses. They've been inspiration and joy to me. I also acknowledge involvement in your involvement in my struggles. The Lord will bless you. I'm happy that my adorable and lovely grandchildren, many of whom are watching with the streaming right now, are likely to be excited to see their grandpa reading this lecture. I have other children, aside from the biological ones, and I appreciate all of them. This acknowledgement will be incomplete without appreciating the love, care, nurture, support, and encouragement of my dear wife. Let them see you. She is my twin from another woman, my better half. The love of my life, the best companion ever. How do I appreciate you enough? It seems impossible to complete the thanks to you on earth. My God will bless you abundantly. Dear me, I recognize your toil, patience, and calm contribution to my life and progress. I wonder what life would have been without you, my pillar of support. May God lengthen our days to enjoy the goodness of God in the land of the living. I know the battle has been fierce and the victory tremendous, the bliss indescribable and the joy inestimable. Thank you for being there. I'm grateful. To this gathering, I appreciate all of you for coming, and I say merci, c'est fini. Okay, sorry, it should be the other.
On behalf of the Vice Chancellor, Professor Rasak Olatunji Ramkalilu, I declare the 78th inaugural lecture closed. Thank you.
Please let us remain standing while the Vice Chancellor leads other dignitaries of the high table out of this hall.
Anthem, Ladoke anthem.
Please let's be standing while the Vice Chancellor and other dignitaries leave.
It's lovely Ladoke, you've kept the promise, now we're singing. All dressed in splendor, as your promise again is kept.